Re-elected EFF leader Julius Malema has praised the peaceful nature of the party's National People's Assembly at NASREC in Johannesburg. He was giving the closing remarks at the assembly. He encouraged the 6 elected leaders to stick to the discipline of the movement and emphasized that whoever was not elected by the province or the conference is not a leader of the EFF. He says the EFF is not here to stay and is not going anywhere. We're now joined by political analyst Dr. Levy Ndou. Dr. Ndou, thank you so much for joining us. Really do appreciate it. This is a party that came into this conference bruised. It was a moment for it to be celebratory about its successes, but also to elect a new leadership and to feel energized about that. Has it achieved that feat, or is it still a party that will be going along feeling bruised?
Good evening, Oliver. Good evening to the viewers at home. I think this conference of the EFF required sober minds. It required a moment of self-reflection. It required the EFF to regroup. And that is something that I observed from this conference. Though they are coming from a very, very bad year where they did not do well in the elections, where we have seen other people appearing to be disgruntled and leaving the organization, the EFF delegates who NASREC took a decision to ensure that apart from the challenges that they've gone through, apart from all those that has happened, they are able to sit down, bring their minds together, and still recommit themselves to the economic freedom fighters. And what I also observed is that in his closing remarks, the CIC was able to provide the line of march and indeed what we should expect in the next 5 years of the economic freedom fighters.
What is the line of march for the next 5 years? What has Julius Malema told its party instruments and foot soldiers to go and do what they haven't been told to do in the past that will perhaps put the party in a stronger position?
Firstly, he spoke about having an induction for all those that are elected into the top position of the EFF. And that, in my view, would be an opportunity for these people, firstly, to know each other, but to develop a coherent approach to what the delegates have been talking about at the conference. He also spoke about the caliber of a leader in terms of how these people are supposed to conduct themselves in public, in private, and also as leaders of the economic freedom fighters. And my sense is that they appear to have observed what has been happening with other political, what are the issues that would weaken political parties, and he has been able to identify such. So the leader of the EFF, according to the speech by the CIC, is that such leaders are supposed to be different from the rest. But very importantly, he cautioned members of the EFF about issues that will relate to factionalism. And it appears as if indeed what they've observed from other political parties and in the main from the ANC is the one that is the source of many challenges in that party. And that is why Mr. Malema has to caution the members of his party about issues relating to factionalism.
Politics is a very competitive terrain, so one can't help to be comparative, especially when it's served to you on a silver platter like it has been today, to compare the address of Julius Malema at the closing of his party's National People's Assembly and that of Jacob Zuma at the 1-year anniversary celebration of the MK party. The tonality and substance of the two speeches is one worth comparing to give a sense of what is to come in the future. And on the one hand, you heard Jacob Zuma speaking about a vision largely for the country, not so much for the party. To an extent, the role the party would play in that vision, a grand coalition of black parties, but also that they've set their sights on the local government election, that they will redress the injustices of the past, and that this is a party that will safeguard the gains of the state, whatever that may have been, but also to fast-track the alleviation of poverty. Whereas Julius Malema's speech, on the other hand, was very internally focused, was very focused on the fiber and DNA of the party itself, and less so much the vision that the party has for the country collectively and the role it plays in the country alongside other political parties. When you compare the tones and substance of those two speeches, is there something notably different about where the heart and mind of the EFF is compared to its competing peers?
There should be clear differences between the speeches by the two. The MK party was celebrating its anniversary, and of course the mood has to be different. It has to be celebratory, but at the same time having to provide some political content. What I've observed with the MK party speech is that firstly, it's an acknowledgement that they actually came in last year and they made a huge difference in the South African body politic. They are the third largest political party in South Africa. And what Jacob Zuma also tried to do was to re-emphasize the position of the MK party in relation to the political nature of South Africa, galvanizing support from all the black forces, because he appears to be positioning the MK party as the party that's supposed to lead all the black parties in South Africa. Whilst Mr. Malema, because he was addressing the National Assembly of the delegates of the EFF, he had to speak mostly about internal dynamics within the party, ensuring that those who leave the conference should carry the message to their different branches and region about what is it that the EFF it's all about. There is no other area that the EFF could focus on at this NPA except inward looking and ensuring that the stability of the party, the growth of the party is enhanced. And that is exactly what one would expect from a leader who is talking to the delegates at a gathering of that political party.
Yeah. Dr. Levy Ndou, thank you so much for your time, your insights and your analysis. Really do appreciate it.